Our next guest is brought to you by the Arnold Palmer Design Whistler Golf Club, counting down till opening day on May 10th. Follow the spring preparations at Whistler Golf on social, and the club reminds organizers of groups of 12 or more. It's time to lock in those tee times for the 2024 season. The prime times are filling up fast, and just for reaching out to hold that tee time, you, the organizer, plays for free. Tell us about your group. Whistler Golf will take care of the rest. Go to whistlergolf.com/groups. Our next guest coached 560 games for the Vancouver Canucks, including 31 in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and he knows a thing or two about bringing a team back to the playoffs here in Vancouver and the atmosphere inside Rogers Arena. It's our pleasure to welcome former Canucks coach Marc Crawford back to Sekeres and Price. How you doing, Coach?
It's great to be with you guys. It's nice that that you've asked me to join you. I always love joining Blake and Matt. That's great.
Yeah. And thanks for doing it, Mark, because you're up early there in Switzerland. You got your league final going on. You're coaching Zurich, and yet there you and your missus up bright and early watching the Vancouver Canucks this morning.
It sounds like she was more eager than you almost, though.
She's given it to me today because I didn't get the NHL package here. And, we were basically listening a little bit. And finally we got it on one of the Italian channels.
Amazing. And I'm sure it makes you, as much as you're embroiled in your own finals at home in Switzerland, it does make you want to come home and relive some of that magic. And the players afterwards, Mark, were quick to point out the goosebumps that they had. You felt those goosebumps. Tell us what that's like.
Well, just even watching the anthem last night, I watched that earlier today, and just the atmosphere around the rink, everybody's into it, everybody's singing, and that home atmosphere just means so much. It's really been interesting here. The first 6 games, the home ice has prevailed in every game in the playoffs so far. And I know for us, when I was coaching the Canucks, that home atmosphere, getting out to a good start in game 1, that's so important. And I was very happy to see the Canucks win last night.
What did you make of the third period, Mark, and the Canucks hitting the 2 quick ones to turn the momentum of the game? Will change the game, win the game.
I thought I saw just an extreme focus on their team, to get the puck in deep, to really do the things that they do well. They're a team that advances the puck really well. They support the puck extremely well. And last night, what they did well is they got to the loose pucks in the offensive zone, and then they created their scoring chances. And so, when you're crashing the net and you're getting pucks to the net, that just seems to be what's done in the playoffs nowadays, even more so than back in my time when I was coaching the Canucks. But I really enjoyed the energy that they had, as well as the energy within the building.
Tactically, strategically, Mark, what's going to be important for Vancouver in this series? How would you attack Nashville, and what are you worried about coming back from the other end?
Well, I think that the key for me with Nashville is their active defense, whether it's Carrier or certainly Josie. They just are such an active group coming back on the second wave of attack. I thought looking at some of their younger players, I would be excited in Nashville of a player like Luke Evangelista. He looks like he's got that little bit of dash and that little bit of juice. Obviously, they've had a big line this year in Forsberg and the resurgence of Gustav Nyquist. But for me, I thought the Canucks did a really good job of stymieing certainly the line of Forsberg's line. They were -3 last night against the line. I thought Lindholm played extremely well, and he's one of those players that skates so well and positionally is so well that you can trust him. And I thought that was the big difference in the game last night is they were able to keep a lid on that top group from Nashville. And I thought that the guys that really carried the day were people like Joshua and Garland and those guys just crashing and banging and getting in deep and really having strong offensive zone time.
Is that sustainable, Mark? Like, can they win the series with the third line being the best line, or at some point are you going to need the top 6?
No,
make a
you
bigger
you always
imprint.
need you always need your top guys. I think you saw last night. You get the power play goal from Nashville came from their top guys. And when O'Reilly has that kind of time, he can pick a spot. And that's the same with the Canucks. Like they've got a great defense that walks the line extremely well. I haven't seen anybody better than Quinn Hughes at walking the line this year. And they're going to score goals. Like they did last night, where he walks the line and Piasuter gets the tip in front of the net. And on their power play, I mean, the Canucks are a very, very diverse power play. They can come at you with Besser, they can come at you with Miller, they can come at you with Pettersson. There's so many weapons for them on that power play that it's tough to keep everybody in check. So, last night it was a game where Lindholm and Joshua and Garland were probably the guys that had the most effect in the forward group. But that the other guys are going to want their time, and they're going to have their games where they're the dominant forces as well. And you're absolutely right. You need everybody, and you certainly need your stars.
Preds aren't that experienced in the playoffs either, but they make the Canucks, they look like, old gray wizards next to the Canucks. Can you coach poise? Because the Canucks showed some poise there. Is that just going to be inside the players, or it's not? Or is there something Rick Tocchet can do to make sure they don't panic when they let in a 2-1 goal that maybe could have been challenged, maybe not, and you just have to sort of take your licks there and accept that you're trailing again after working so hard? But they didn't panic. And is that just in a player, or is there something Rick Tocchet can do to make sure these guys, stay focused?
Well, I think what he did last night was the absolute perfect thing to do. And you're right, the poise of the coach matters. I lost a lot of jobs because I didn't have poise behind the bench. But it is, any good team, and the good teams that I won a series with, they're always team led. They're inside driven, and it's always about the players that are playing. But the coach has to be the one that kind of is a buffer. He's a buffer on the bench. He makes subtle decisions during the game. Like last night, they saw that it wasn't working with Lafferty up with the top guys, and they moved Mikhailov back. And I thought that was a real strong move during the game. Again, you're looking at matchups all the time, and you're trying to keep your matchups going. And then it's those things like you point out. Yeah, like that was a strong decision or non-decision by Rick Tocchet last night. If you do challenge, then you run the risk of whether you're going to solve it or not. And you can talk to the NHL people; they're never going to give you the answer unless you do challenge. And I thought last night it was the right move, and it showed confidence in his team that they could come back for him. And exactly as Matt said, there was no need to panic because there was lots of game left, and you saw them take over in the third.
Pettersson had
no, before we leave that, because he brought it up, pretty good call by the video coach.
Yes, the video coach has to make the right call, and Dylan and Greg did a good job. But at the same time, Rick's got to be the guy that makes the decision.
That's what he said.
Hey, well, my understanding is Rick gave him "Are you bleeping sure?"
and imagine if they say, imagine if they challenge that. They don't get the success. They go on the penalty kill again, give up another goal, and it's 3-1. So you know what? It's it all worked out in the end, probably for the Vancouver Canucks.
Well, I'm just glad Dylan stood his ground.
Yes,
with the head coach challenging him like that, because he was right.
Pettersson struggled at the end of the season. He wasn't going like gangbusters. There was kind of more of that for him in game number 1. Not that he played bad, but he certainly wasn't a guy that was saying, "Get on my back." Yeah. You just let it play out. I mean, how much do you think Rick Tocchet gets in the face of a previous 100-point guy, 90-point guy for him this year? Like, what do you do with a struggling superstar?
You just talk to him. You keep trying to point out things that maybe he can do and to help his game. And the other thing is, maybe you talk to him and tell him everything's going to be all right if he keeps playing with the energy and the forcefulness that he's trying to play with. I mean, I really like Elias Pettersson. I think he's one of the top players in the league, and he's going to find this series. He's going to find this series, and him working with his line, it's going to be a series where there's not much room. There won't be a lot of room. You look at that defense from Nashville, when you're playing against McDonough all the time, or you're playing against Josi, or you're against Lozon, who's a big shutdown guy. Carrier is a real sharp defenseman. There's not a lot of room, and the best of players, that's where it is. If you have 4 good defensemen on your team, it's usually they have the matchup for the 2 lines, and that's why you need that 3rd and 4th line. Special teams always make a difference, but you've got to recognize that you're playing against top defenders in the National Hockey League when you're getting to the playoffs, and top defenders don't make a lot of mistakes. So it's always going to be tough for those top players.
What do you make of the Twin Towers last night, Zadorov and Myers, and how active they were both ends of the ice, Mark?
I thought the Big Z was pretty good last night. I had the Big Z in Chicago, and he's a delightful character. He sometimes drives you crazy with his antics, but you gotta love the way when he plays his game and he's on his game. He's a top D. He really is. And Myers has just had such a great year. They cover so much space. So when they're using their sticks as well as they were using their sticks last night, first on puck and just squashing plays, I thought that was really good. And the Big Z made a couple of great outlet passes that made a difference. I think he got an assist on the Lindholm goal. So that was a good play. And he was, for me, a guy that played a very good game for them last night.
He's quite a character, Mark. Did you have some fun with him in Chicago? Give us a big Z story from Chicago.
The Big Z, he's one of the few players that's from Moscow. There's not a lot of players in the NHL that are from the city of Moscow. And I used to like hearing his stories about the city of Moscow, the Big Z. But, he's a guy that's got tons of confidence. And if you don't think so, just ask him. I mean, he's got it. And again, I always thought that he played his best when he played with authority. If he was going to play, and he had a little burr under his backside, that's usually when you got the best of the Z. I mean, he's such a big guy, and for a big guy, he skates very, very efficiently.
It's only a 1-0 series lead, but it is a series lead, and you've won a bunch of series. You've had in Vancouver, the Detroit series, the second round series versus Minnesota, of course. There's the weight of leading the series as well. Is a 1-0 series lead tolerable? Is it when it gets to 2-0, 3-1 where you start to feel the weight? Or tell us about sort of and people say there's no momentum in the playoffs. So maybe they are standalone silos here, but what did you have to guard against the team changing mindsets because you had a series lead?
Well, that's the whole thing. The experiences that I've been through now is that you want to give yourself about an hour to enjoy the victory last night, and then get it out of your mind. You have to have very, very short memories, both good and bad, in the playoffs. And that was the one thing I texted to my son last night was, hey, great win, great team win, and just get your guys ready for game 2. And that's really where it becomes the focus starts almost immediately. Get your rest, get yourself ready, because game 2 is the only one that you've got tomorrow night, and that's the one you got to win.
Well, we wish the Crawford family the best, and we hope for some stress-free decisions from the video coordinator as the series goes along. Mark, fantastic insight, as always, my friend. Thank you for joining me here today, and we'll catch up with you real soon here.
Thanks, guys. Go Canucks.
Hey, everybody, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, then follow along with Sekeres and Price on YouTube. I promise more content coming.
The kids call it subscribe on YouTube.
Well, how about liking it?
Do that as well. Smash it right now.